We start out on this new road. No turning back. But we have our ancestors with us. We're gonna continue to dance with them. Dreaming them. Calling them. Seeing them. We are becoming what we were.
It is part of that Mayan prophecies.
7 triangles of light.
Keep walking. You are the spirit of Unapku. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapku.
People who say that the gods made them from corn. They planned their lives according to the heavens. Well versed in astronomy, using a sophisticated mathematics, they calculated the movements of the night sky thousands of years into the past and thousands of years into the future. They knew that the universe moved in cycles. Their lives were ruled by the rhythms of the natural world. Planting and harvesting, birth and death, just as the great tree of life emerges from the earth.
Always they're connected. Science and religion.
In dreams we learn from the Maya gods when to plant and when to harvest, when to set the fire and when to do the corn ceremony.
What we're digging up, what we're coming up with is part of our history. And the men that lived here are some of the greatest men we've ever had. And it's a fact that we're getting to know more and more and more about the life of these people.
They still maintain their customs, they still maintain their ways of organizing their societies. And it's very exciting to see how much of the ancient Maya way of life is still alive as well.
Because American history does not begin in 1492 with Columbus. It begins in 200 BC with the first Maya king who wrote his name on a stone. What is happening now is the people who made these places, people like Yashpak or Bird Jaguar or Pakal, are getting back their voices. They are becoming real to us and speaking to the people of the 20th century about who built this place and why and what they felt and what they thought about the world. These are not anonymous people anymore.
You are the spirit of Unapku. Keep walking. We the human, we are doing the spirit of Unapku.
Issued by Pope Nicholas V, which gave colonizing Europeans permission directly from God to, quote, capture, vanquish, and subdue the enemies of Christ, to put them into perpetual slavery, and to take all their possessions.
It seems like the trail of tears never ends. The harder the light, the darker the skin. When did this begin? The greed of evil men who happen to have white pale skin. Write down the laws, create the constitutions. We the people, just a pimped out illusion. A trickery of words that deceive the lost herds. But ancient are my people, medicine my words. Cause the gods of time, they write my rhymes. They keep my heart divine so I can see between the lines. The stars are the sign that travel space and time. You can never own my spirit, you will never own my mind.
Descend from my place in the stars. Half Gonzal, half Jack, on my lyrics hit hard. Half Gonzal, half Jack, on my lyrics hit hard. Lyrics hit hard. Lyrics hit hard. Half Gonzal, half Jack, on my lyrics hit hard.
You see the spirits in the wind have a deal with men to never hurt the earth and to always defend the elders, the children. Sacred is the flower that we call our women. the power of creation, the seventh generation, the carriers of light. They suffered so much through a 500-year night. Raping Spaniards, pedophile priests, manifest destiny, mark of the beast. We seem to have forgotten the Spanish Inquisition when they murdered fucking millions in the name of their religion. Another modern day rendition, but a vaccine inquisition, ran by billionaire elites and corrupt politicians. These are the seeds of white supremacy, white superiority over colored majorities. Doctrine of discovery, 1493.
Ghost of the ancient set in the stage tent. Ghost of the ancient set in the stage tent. Ghost of the ancient set in the stage tent. Ghost of the ancient set in the stage tent. Broke into the Vatican, strangled the Pope with a throat tree. Broke into the Vatican, strangled the Pope with a throat tree. Broke into the Vatican, strangled the Pope with a throat tree.
Yo, LA natives.
We are fumbling around. Yo.
Appreciate all the early birds.
What up, Mondo?
Yo, what up, Zero?
And what up, Nataanii? Yo, man. What a dope show we have today for these guys, LA natives. I mean, Nataanii means legendary father. I mean, here you go, brother. It's you. Legendary father, and man, he created an amazing hip hop artist known as Nataanii Means, who had a part of it. And I'm sure your mom had a part of it too.
Well, I want to add this, a legendary hip hop artist too.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Nataanii's coming with it.
I met Nataanii. I have to say that, Nataanii, legendary hip hop artist.
Shit, that means a lot to me. That's
Go ahead and put the mic as close as possible to your, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it means a lot to me right there.
I mean, when I met you in Riverside, you had just came off the MTV feature.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, they just featured me on MTV.
Yeah, it was about 2015, you know?
Yeah, and during that time. And I was like, wow, Russell Memes has another voice. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, not your pop, but another version of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, where's Nataanii Means gonna fit in? Where is he gonna fit in to voice this amazing lineage, right?
Yeah.
And now you're a hip hop artist, and you have amazing music. And let's talk about it, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I mean, I loved hip hop from when I was, just growing up on the res. I grew up in Chinle, Arizona, which is an hour and a half from any kind of town. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to drive an hour and a half to go get our groceries and go school shopping. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, and it was a dry res. So, people were bootlegging a lot. People, were addicted to hairspray, drinking hairspray, Listerine. And so it's just like, I grew up on the res, and I never really thought much about life after high school until it happened. And I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't apply to no colleges. I barely passed. And my brother Tatanka, he was like, you should go to school. And I was like, oh, all right, well, I'll think about it for about a year. I was just gonna go powwow. I was gonna go dance powwow.
Okay.
Because I was a pretty good grass dancer, so I was just gonna go see if I could win big powwows,
Right.
But Tatanka, he enrolled me into art school in Santa Fe. It was a tribal college, Institute of American Indian Arts. And he did my paperwork, paid my fees, and then got me enrolled. And he was like, hey, you're going to college. And I always thank Tatanka for that, because without that, like that set my life on a path. And I went there, and I met this dude from California. He was Tule River Yoka. His name's Tyler Perone. And he was there for like poetry, creative writing. And he was one of you get a mentor assigned to you in college. And I went down to his family housing one day, and he had a microphone set up and a little laptop, little setup, and I never seen that before. I never seen an actual setup.
Wow.
And he was like, this is 2009. He's like, you rap? And I was like, yeah, I rap. I mean, I write stuff. He's like, well, shit, get on a beat. So I was like thrown into it, and I was like, okay. So
nice. It
was him, me, and then another guy, and we just started writing. And it was the first time I ever got put into like a situation like that, like having to. I heard Wu-Tang talk about it later on. Like it forced your competitive attitude, you know, like, and you could feel it when you're with other MCs and you're writing. Right. Who's first one done? What's that first one sound like? Oh, I can top that next one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was cool, man, and I kind of just fell in love with the process there. And I didn't like the way I sounded. I didn't like the way I rapped or nothing.
No one does. No one ever does.
Your first time being recorded.
Yeah, you think that your first poems are like weak, or they you know, especially when you're going into the hip hop realm, and then you're quoting somebody like Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Because Wu-Tang's lyrics are just, you have to decode them. You have to be into their music to decode them.
Yeah.
So you're already trying to, you know, reach these levels in this first recording experience. You're like, hey man,
I don't sound like them. I don't sound like them. It's like, so yeah. So I told myself, until I'm happy with the way I sound, and it took me 2 years to like constantly recording, to work on my flow, to be happy with my content. But I was rapping about some dumb shit. Like I was rapping about, you know, just trying to be cooler than everybody else. And that dude, he looked at me and he was like, man, where you from, man? And I was like, I'm from Navajo Reds, you know, I grew up there. He's like, what's that like? And I was like, it sucks. It's hard, you know. It's like, you know, you're surrounded by a lot of drunks. You know, there's meth. There's a really big meth problem. It's just hard times. You know, you grow up fighting, and it was hard for me to see the beauty when I left Chinle, right? Until I got to college, and he was like, well, what's beautiful about it? And then that's when it switched up my thinking, and I was like, okay, now I gotta think about what's beautiful about the Reds. Well, family structure, our way of life, our language, the scenery. So he's all right about all of that. Write about that. Write about Res life. He's like, let them see what it's like. He's like, you listen to who? Who do you listen to? And I was like, I listen to, at the time I was like listening to J. Cole, the warm-up mixtape. And he was like painting pictures. And he's like, well, if you could be in front of him and put your music on, what would you want him to be like, to know about us natives? And that switched up my whole thinking right there. And I was like, boom, I'm gonna make people understand what it's like to be us. You know, I want to talk about our problems. I want to bring it to the forefront. I want to showcase who we are, and you know, just talk about it. You know,
yeah, that's an inspiring story. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to it, going, wow, you know, because we have such a skewed view of what the reservation life is.
Yeah.
You ask me, Nataanii, 10 years ago what it was, I would say, oh, those guys are lucky. They get to live out in nature.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they go and do ceremony every day, and, you know, they're beautiful over there. It's like, and then, you know, you get deeper into your studies and you start going, why did Hitler use the U.S. as an example to build Nazi Germany?
Yep.
Like, oh, shit, whoa. And then that opens up a door of like, okay, what was it truly like in res life?
Yeah.
What is it truly like in res life? And to me, you know, the orphans, I like to consider myself an orphan soul on this side. But we have big brothers, right, that were obviously mistreated. But let's put to perspective where they were put so that we can work our way out of it.
Yeah.
You know, because the truth is they're lazy. Their lineage is lazy. Their grandparents are lazy. They've always been lazy. They rely on our stupidity. After doing just a bit of research, you'll start to see the big picture and how the big picture wasn't even designed to be hidden, right? Yeah. And that's where I think your medicine comes in, because they didn't do anything to hide that they were putting natives in concentration camps.
Yeah, I mean, Pine Ridge, where I'm enrolled at, where my dad's from, it still has the number attached to it, you know, 344. And it says it, right? Welcome to, right when you go into the res, welcome to Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, POW 334, or 344.
Prisoner of war.
Yeah.
POW.
Prisoner of war camp number, and it has its number.
There you go.
And, you know, it's something that it's hard to look at, but it's sobering to see.
Yeah.
To be reminded of what we were thought of, what we are currently thought of.
No,
you know,
that never changed.
Yeah.
Why is it still there if it changed?
Well, no. Well, I think our people put it there to remind ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Our people leave it up to remind us that we were wards of the government. We were exiled.
Absolutely.
And
I was like, because if they left it there, they're trying to make a fucking statement.
No. We put it up because we want people to remember. You know.
Absolutely.
We want you to remember like where we stand in the eyes of the government, and to take that attitude and take it out into that world. Absolutely. Take it out into this world. And show them who the fuck we are, basically, you know? Yeah. And that's what I try to do in my hip-hop is I try to, every time I touch a stage or do a video, release a song, I just want people to be slapped in the face with native identity. Like, oh, shit.
Right.
They're still here.
Not only that, but your clothing.
Oh, yeah.
Your clothing. Your clothing's huge.
Some of my merch and stuff, yeah. Yeah, I want people to my thing is, when I get on an airplane, I want to make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I want people to know he's a native.
Yeah.
And I want them to be like, I just want them to be uncomfortable. Like, cause I'm uncomfortable everywhere I go. Mm-hmm. I gotta travel this country and stop at truck stops and, you know, sit in an airplane with people that just are ignorant.
Yeah.
And don't know nothing.
Yeah.
So
they definitely don't know the disparity between city and res. They don't know that. They don't know the displacement of it. They don't know like what you're trying to articulate. You know, and your presence alone obviously makes people uncomfortable. That's why I tell people there's an uphill battle when you're trying to be a native, trying to tell the truth about what happened to you, because white people are gonna go, that's too much, bro. Even if you're cool, it's too much for me to handle, bro. I can't fathom my grandfather doing that to you.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to ease them into it sometimes.
Exactly.
Especially if you want funding.
But what I like about your sound is that it doesn't do that in a crass way. It wasn't done like in Public Enemy style way or I mean, not that that's abrasive, because come on, we're talking about colonialism. That's a fucking horrible, horrible genocide. It's like, you know what my mission is for people to look at what happened to natives and not go, oh, but that happened a long time ago. Mm-hmm. I want them to look at it and go, shit, that was worse than the Jews times 100.
Yeah.
I want them to do that.
Yeah.
I want them to look at you and go, that's a sacred man walking on this earth because he survived that fucking atrocity.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I definitely, you know, I definitely want that point to be made across, but also like I enjoy telling who we are now too in like the 21st century. And I think that was a big thing when I was in college, was when I was releasing music online, releasing music on YouTube. Some of my first stuff, like I did a remix of Dead Presidents, and to me that's like one of my favorite verses of all time that I've done, because it was done at a time when I was like, man, I need people to see who we are now, you know, because I think I was taking like an American Indian and film history class or something, and they were showing us like, you know, what Hollywood thinks of us, you know, the I don't know, how do you say, the exploitation of the Plains culture has been exploited immensely, you know.
They think everybody's that.
Yeah. So I just wanted people to understand who we are. Like we're not always dressed up like in ribbon shirts, and you know, my homies back home, they don't even care about native issues sometimes. They're just trying to live their life. And a lot of my friends that ended up in like prison or like ended up ODing or just, you know, just living that life, you know, I look at them, you know, and they're the tough guys. They're tough, you know. I look at them and I think, who were they back then? Who were these guys back then? Like, these guys were the warriors. These guys were the first ones out there. These guys were revered. They were respected. You know, now in this society, you know, they're thrown in prison. They're lost. They're fighting. Now we're fighting each other. And
you know, I like that perspective, because growing up in East LA and seeing those warriors, right? Yeah. Those are the OGs, the ones that you know, maybe took. You hear stories about those guys, like dudes running with no shoes away from a cop car and getting away, high as fuck. You know, the things that they did while they were high were like what the fuck? Who would do that? Who would humanly? But I could see how they can get lost in not being able to be warriors, not being able to be noble, not being able to have that outlet, and it destroy them inside. I could. It's systematic. Yeah. This is not new news.
Yeah.
I hate when people act like the U.S. don't have a bad side. As a matter of fact, 95% of it's bad. Wake up, because that's the truth. There's a reason why that flag on Nataanie's sweater is upside down.
Facts.
You know, let's just stop that. You know, we were talking to, who was it? The guy Casp, right? Or from the indigenous thing. And he was like trying to be kind about, you know, not about being too abrasive towards white people. Yeah. It's like, no, there's no kindness to genocide.
Well, like the partner you were just speaking to not too long ago, remember he was like, yo, you know, I got to, you know, a certain thing. It just, sometimes I don't want to offend people.
Yeah.
But you have to be a disruptor. And this is what I love about Nataanii.
You can't make up a whole new reality to offend them.
Like
you can't go like, right? oh, yeah, white people didn't
You have to be a disruptor to make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's how I feel like with the whole underground hip hop scene. Like, I feel like I've been a disruptor, and it got me to places. You know, and a lot of people are not willing to take that risk.
Yeah, you have to be able to get out of your own comfort zone. And I tell people this all the time when I speak at schools, especially red schools. You know, I encourage people and young kids, you know, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's the only way you'll excel in this life at some points. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to take those risks, and everybody knows that. You know, you got to take risks.
It's such a ceremony teaching.
Yeah.
To be comfortable about being uncomfortable. I remember doing a stay up ceremony with my family.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I can't get comfortable. The elder walked by and said, you're not supposed to be.
You're not supposed to be. That's our teaching, man.
Exactly.
And every ceremony, it's not comfortable, you know? Healing is not comfortable. Yeah, exactly. The same way, like, I went into the sweat one time, and sometimes, you know, I'm usually used to, like, being able to spread out. Man, I had to sit there like this, and I'm a bigger dude, so I was scrunched up. My whole leg was dead.
Oh, wow.
And I was so uncomfortable, but suffering is not supposed to, you know, praying, that's not supposed to be comfort, you know? Yeah. It's not supposed to be comfortable. You have to suffer a little bit in this life.
And I love that about our culture, and I love that about your music, because you can see that. You could see that tiny silver lining of that message in there.
Yeah.
You throw it in there. Even though you're young and you want to have a normal, quote unquote, normal, whatever, you were from a different generational gap. You know what I mean? How old are you?
I'm 30.
Yeah, you're 30. See, I'm 46. I'm 16 years older than you. So there's a little bit of a, but I'm not the type of dude that's going to go, oh, wow, that's kind of like, you got to be straight and narrow, all indigenous, all social. I don't believe in that. Because if you do that to art, it's not art no more.
Yeah.
Art is this random, chaotic expression that could be happy and beautiful, or it could be very sad.
Yeah.
And whatever the latter is, a true artist will dwell in all of it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what you do.
And I've lived, you know, I've lived what I talk about in my music. You know, I have those uncomfortable conversations of, like, you know, struggling with addiction and partying, and, you know, being the life of the party, or, like, you know, peer pressure, you know, just doing drugs. You know, I've lived through all that. I've done those things. I've suffered in those ways. I've been addicted to alcohol. You know what I'm saying? And it's something, you know, it's an everyday struggle I'm faced with every day, even now, you know, and I try my best to relate to those people, you know, that just to make them feel better. Like, yeah, you go through it. Everyone goes through it. I mean, shit, man, it's just a reality that I don't think is addressed enough nowadays. You know, everyone talks about the activism and the strong, the this, but no, you know, no one's talking about the bad side of things.
Right.
You know?
Like the outreach to our own self.
Yeah.
Really. You know, the guy that we like, I remember, like, when you said man, the people drinking hairspray and Listerine to get high or drunk or whatever, that's the same mirror in the Vadio, but they get the Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Brake fluid.
Jesus.
Brake fluid. I mean, I was like, whoa, this is, when I saw that, and then you said that, I was like, wow, we're too poor to even get drunk properly.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to resort to some very heavy things. Man, I love that you talk about that, though, bro. I mean, not very many individuals have the bravery to say that my people struggle a lot.
Yeah.
Through some addictions that no one does that over here. Because they can afford a $2, but if you have to travel an hour and a half just to get to a store, you're gonna be creative as fuck to do what you need to do.
Yeah, you're gonna find a way, and they find ways, you know. And it's always sad because when I was younger, I was ashamed to be from where I was from. You know, I was like, man, there's nothing but drunks there. Yeah. And it wasn't until I went to college and I opened my eyes and I noticed all the fluent speakers and all like the real dark skinned people, like I don't want to say full bloods, but like the people that were raised traditionally, probably. They were always, some of them, you know, it seemed like a lot of them were addicted to you know, drinking hairspray and that kind of stuff, you know. And a lot of them were like my mom's age, my mom's classmates, some of her students. And I noticed that, like, I woke up to it when I was in college, and I was like, damn, well, those guys are the ones that kind of suffered, like, in, you know, in boarding schools and you know, in Vietnam, whatever, you know. And I just sympathize with them, I guess, because they had a rough life. Yeah. You know, because they were probably, you know, really traditional, got a beat out of them, you know. Yeah. So, really sad. Yeah. And then that's carried down to, like, you know, their grandchildren who are my age, you know. And, you know, I see it now. I see the addiction happening with, you know, like with my friends, a lot of my friends. Yeah. And I lost one of my best friends last year to OD. And that really hit me hard, you know. And I want to focus on, I guess, the healing of our men at this age or at our age, like, and put light to that, because there's something that's not being addressed, not being talked about, and there's a reason why our men are just killing themselves, you know. Right. You know, and I want to find out why. Well, good luck on that journey, brother. I mean, I it's like, it's kind of like when I hate to reference the plain Indians version of our reality, but I mean, when we're connected to the source on that level, that's what's going to resonate into your being. That's what resonates into mine. Yeah. In a different way. Yeah. But the same. Because I'm a hip hop artist, you're a hip hop artist. We speak about the same things. I just go a little further back in time for it. But man, your story is so relevant, bro. I'm so happy that you are taking that challenge on, because it's not an easy challenge. Oh, it's not, you know, and I still got a lot of personal work to do with myself, you know, until I'm fully immersed in all that. But you know, that's on my mind, it's on my heart, you know. Yeah. And I'm headed back to my father's homelands this summer, so it's gonna be nice to be around, you know, the ceremonies. Ever since the coronavirus, last year everything got put on halt, like our sun dances, our ceremonies, you know, sweats, you know. So now we're going back and we're gonna be doing all that kind of stuff, and it's gonna be good, you know. Yeah. It's a journey, bro. Like my first experience with ceremony was at 19 years old, and it's taken me to certain different individuals that are very important in history. I think like Leonard Crodog and a lot of the real, I think, medicine carriers, right? Their job is to like you said, you know, it's like you would think. I remember when I went to the Gathering of the Nations, and this is why it's relevant to what you're saying. Like, I'm finding my journey. I'm not all social political, but I do have a moment in time where I reflect on my good time, right? And the good times that
my peers growing up did, right? But then there's like these massively important people in our movement, and you have a lot of weight on your shoulder. And I could see your development. But what I'm trying to say is that not every artist has a straight line.
Yeah.
It's the crookedness of it that makes it so. Because when I went to the Gathering of the Nations, there was this one brother, and like you said, it seems like the darker skinned ones, the ones that speak the most traditional, they're the ones that kind of go off the deep end and go into benders, right? Like these benders of like, whoa, this unexplainable bender, right? Well, what happened to him? And then he cleans himself up to go to ceremony because he still has that commitment to ceremony.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like usually you don't see that kind of, fight back to reality, what we call reality, but who knows? I know for myself, we deal with a lot as men. And sexual molestation, physical abuse, mental abuse, we're taught to ignore all that.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist in a man's reality. And that's what keeps us internalized and seeking this.
Yeah, you rage inside, know, and you see it in a lot of people, and that's when they break down, they break apart, because they keep that in for so long. So just how, starting those healthy conversations of, opening up and dialoguing, that's important, man. And that's important for our men because, our women are very strong and they are medicine. And for a long time, the men have been just not neglected, but just not brought back up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They bring each other up and
right.
help each other out. And that's very important because you want to be in balance. There's a whole balance to a family structure. There's a whole balance in our ceremonies and our way of life. There's a balance in relationships. So it's, you got to work on yourself to nurture that balance. It can't be one-sided on the women's side forever.
Right.
We got to step it up.
Or vice versa, or for the men, right? Like, what I think, if we can have that dialogue with our partners, right, and on walking this Mother Earth, is that not everybody's a strong ass warrior. Sometimes people are smart.
Yeah.
Sometimes people know how to build things versus knowing how to carry things. It's like there's like you're explaining, men are diverse in so many ways, right? And then unfortunately with colonized rule, it forced either men to be extremely masculine and then the females extremely everything you do to them is wrong. You know what I mean? Like I live with that kind of a partner.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad thing because she has the right to have her voice, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes most of the time she's right, but sometimes in at least the cultures that come around here that they have no voice.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they have a voice is a huge deal.
Yeah.
So I can imagine what it's like. And bringing back that balance is like 100-year journey. And I'm glad that you're taking it though.
It is because 100 and if you think about it 150 years ago were the Indian Wars. Not even that, 170 years ago now. Were the Indian Wars and the height of the Indian Wars, right? And then the 1870s came, we're still fighting. Once we signed those treaties and we thought there was peace, then they killed the buffalo. They took everything. They rounded everybody up, put them on concentration camps. They then took everyone's guns and bow and arrows, your protection. As a protector, you have no way to provide for your family. After an eon of providing, you get it taken away from you. And years passed. Now the boarding schools start. Now your kids, when they turn the age of 4 or 5, they're being taken away. And you have no say in it as a man, as a woman. And time passes again. Then you have the Homestead Act, which is shrinking of our grazing rights, of our farming, and you're being told how much you can produce, how much you can provide now. And then time passes again. Then you have the Relocation Act, where you're told to leave the reservation. You have opportunity in the cities. And, you know, people did that. My dad did that. He was relocated to L.A. You know, he spent a lot of time in downtown L.A.
Wow.
And it says it in his book. But you have all of these things that happened where it's just like everything was stripped away from you for over a century. And now we're trying to figure it out. Like now we're getting back to our traditional ways and trying to clean back to what we held on to. So it's just a matter of being patient, but also, you know, just trying to rebuild yourself as ourselves as men. You know, watching what happened to our uncles or grandpas or dads when we were growing up, and not learning the bad things that they did, but you know, learning from that to be better in our generation. Absolutely. And when I choose to have kids, you know, hopefully they take the good of what I can teach them, and they can heal their family, and when they're grown men, you know, and then come back to balance. Like you said, it's a 100-year journey. You know, 100 years from now, we could, on the right path we're on now, we could probably get back to it. You know what I'm saying?
I completely believe that. And
there are a lot of families that are like that. You know, that still doing, you know, those medicine carriers that are very, 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 very inspirational in my eyes. You know, my brother is a really good man. You know, he's someone I really look up to, Tatanka and Scott. So it's just a matter of helping the rest of our people now. Right. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be that. I don't know. Just trying to be something good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you're doing that just by being yourself, brother. I mean, your energy is amazing. You've always represented. I've never met you, or I mean, even though you had your early part of your career when you didn't have a focus on your message, it's very clear when I met you what your message was, and you're falling in line with a very great example in life for us, you know, which was, you know, Big Pops, you know, and obviously is feeding you, it's telling you, Nataanii, it's use your voice, brother. Like,
man. Yeah, he's a big inspiration, you know. Of course, because he taught me everything I know about our people. So I try to have his voice in some of the things I do, you know, for sure.
Well, definitely in the moves you make, you know, with you know, the documentary and other things that you organize, right? Like the protecting of certain sacred sites, and you know, your involvement with Standing Rock. I mean, it's that, I don't even want to call it that A word, because that's not what it is. It's a human being standing up for his sacred Mother Earth, right?
Yeah, I don't like the word activism either. Activist, you know, it just puts a label on you of whatever, but because we're native people, like this is what we should be doing. This is what we do. Exactly. We love our land. We love our water, and you shouldn't be labeled a fighter for fighting for clean water, you know, like
exactly,
like just be a human being.
You're radical. You're
radical.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're a radical because they're burning cop cars and don't want a pipeline to go through their water. You're like,
right.
I mean, we just want clean water.
The best metaphor is like, it's like someone comes into your home and takes a big dump on the floor.
Yeah.
And you're cleaning it, and they're getting mad because you're cleaning it. And it's like, wait a minute. It's like, this is filthy. We want to live like this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're radical. Yeah. It's like, come on, you're not a radical for that.
Yeah, man. It's the way they think. By they, I mean, like, you know, Western society or whatever. They're so backwards compared to indigenous philosophy and thought.
Right.
It's just even the English language to us is backwards. Like now that I'm learning my languages, you have to like completely just like not think of how you learned in school, what you learned in school. You have to like turn your way of learning around to be able to learn our languages. And it's very hard for me.
Yeah.
Hard for a lot of us because, you know, we were raised in schools, you know, based off of, you know, the church. The church introduced this way of learning.
Absolutely.
And it's a complete contradiction of our blood genetic memory, you know, our epigenetic memory, you know. So it's a struggle to get back to our original way. Like the only way I see myself learning my language is if I was at home every day, back on the res, you know, going and visiting the fluent speakers. Because I've been taking courses where it's almost kind of like Western education. And
Yeah.
It's the most comfortable for me too.
Yeah.
Like sitting there writing some notes and have to be repetitive.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you were just thrown into total immersion, you have to catch up. You have to listen. You really you have to live with it. You have to, you know. And I think that my dad, his big vision was to start a total immersion school. And back home they have, you know, like they have half immersion schools, you know. But hopefully one day we can transition to where it's just total immersion, where there's no English, there's no tradition, there's no Western education involved. You're just thrown in it, you know, and
you know, when
that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Well, his dad was a visionary. It doesn't surprise me that Nataani's on that level, because we put a lot of pressure on our youth to complete big things.
Yeah.
But I could see Nataanii being 80 years old, speaking fluently his language. I don't think that his life's going to end without him knowing his traditional language, no matter whether he learned it from Rosetta Stone or fucking whoever the fuck, you know. It's like I think
Navajo's on Rosetta Stone,
right? You see, it's like that's what I'm saying. Like look, when I study Western culture, I gotta go to their grandfathers, because that's where we look at it, right? We look at our grandfather and our grandfather's grandfathers, right? The way I look at it is that if you base your society off a lie, which is the Doomsday Versace Doctrine of Discovery document written by Pope Alexander, somebody, whoever the fuck, I don't want to even know his name, but he wrote this paper and he put words on it, and these sailors came and brought this paper. They came with a book, and now all our information and legitimacy comes from reading these papers that were coming. The source of it, I just look at it like that.
Yeah.
The source of it is lies, because you don't have authority to say that land is yours because they don't do this and that or the other, or they're not of this color of skin. This is what we face collectively. It's monarchs changing their names to corporations, but still tied to the very source of racism, which is economic power. Right?
Yeah.
So I started thinking on the driveway over here, it's like us people of color are being attacked by so many financial structures that are all biting for our energy of work, attention, or whatever. You go like, oh, well, the government's bad, but the government follows the church. Well, then the church is bad, but they're following the tech guy. Well, the tech guy's bad. It's like, no, they're all feeding off of you. They're just fighting each other to see who gets to get the big piece of the pie. Depopulation of the world sounds amazing, right? And it sounds like amazing rabbit hole to follow. But the truth is they're greedy. They like to see big numbers. They like to say, oh, I'm a millionaire. Well, guess what? I'm a billionaire. Well, guess what? I'm a trillionaire. Well, guess what? I'm a whatever's next.
Yeah.
They're going to fucking follow that forever. I think our strength as indigenous people on this planet, on this turtle island, on this intention, is going back to our grandfather's wisdom. And if I trace that all the way back to the Aztec stone, then they are the most accurate individuals to document time. This has nothing to do with an economic money-based thing. Time is the most precious element that you can obtain, but it slips through your fingers. So then if your ancestry and lineage are masters of time, why the fuck is it slipping through our fingers?
Yeah.
It should be slipping through their fingers, not mine. That's my focus. And it's a 500-year journey.
Yeah.
And guess what? I'm willing to walk it.
Hell yeah.
Because if our ancestors can walk the Trail of Tears and still survive in those reses,
facts,
and still drink their poison, then it's our job to proliferate their strength.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to meet you, bro.
Yeah, man.
Now I met you on a different level.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
it feels good to be here. It feels good to talk about this stuff, man.
Well, this is the platform that me and Armando are trying to create, a free zone where natives can say, you know what, I don't like this. I don't fucking, this is wrong to ignore 500 years of genocide just because it got passed on from the French to the so-and-sos to the they're all colonial. They all have the same principles, right?
Yeah.
And it's happening today. You're going to know, what are you talking about? No one's getting kicked out of their home today. Really? Try researching Palestine.
Damn.
Right?
We are live right here. LA Native, Zero El Vuh, Nataanii means. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Yeah, shout out to everyone in the chat. I've been looking at some comments here.
Yeah, you want to answer something?
Yeah, we can answer some questions.
Yeah, hit up Nataanii, man. Nataanii, man, he's just a beautiful human being, and I know he's going to achieve all those things that his dad set out for
All right,
him.
here's one. What does Nataanii think about all the Afrocentric cats who claim to be Olmec and the original native people of Turtle Island?
Oh, no.
It's one Immortal Tech Ice Cube.
They went there,
all
bro.
that.
Well, I know Felipe. I know Immortal Tech. Like, I know him.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? We've done multiple shows together. He's come out to. I first met him at Standing Rock. He came out and did a show. We did a show there, and he donated a bunch of supplies. And he came out to Line 3. We were fighting Line 3 a couple of years ago, which is still going on today. They're still fighting. So Immortal's always shown great love. You know, every time we're in New York, he's always inviting us out. But you know, he's super respectful, respectful of our way of life.
Yeah.
You know, he's grown a lot as a person, but I have nothing to say towards that way of thinking because I have enough problems over here.
Well,
you know,
I have something to say. Here it is. Very simple. We all reference books, right? Books are people's opinion. And they got published and proliferated and sold or took into institutions who I just told you that the Rockefellers.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're going to dictate that narrative as much as possible. And their greatest device or their greatest tool is division. So why wouldn't they say, you know what, Africans? You started the world.
Yeah. You know, the biggest fallacy to me is thinking that this continent was empty from the beginning of time. We don't know nothing about this side of the world. I know because I know my ceremonies. You know, I know my way of life. You know, we have connection to the spirit world. But you know, the biggest lie is saying that there's nobody here on this side of the world after Pangea. You know what I'm saying?
Or that Africans didn't have the ability to cross the ocean.
Yeah. No,
think about that.
All kinds of trading happened. The Maoris came over here. You know, they would trade with the West Coast people. You know, the Hawaiians, they traded up to Alaska.
I mean, just think about that, though. Think about the white man was the only person to build a boat and cross the ocean and find this land that nobody was at.
It's just beyond me, man. But no,
I think that's a colonial perspective to put origin on a person.
It is. It's putting two people against each other again.
Exactly.
You know, and I don't like fighting people of color.
No.
About where you're from, where I'm from. I know where I'm from. You know,
You know what I like about the native saying? The great mystery.
Yeah, the great mystery.
Why? Why is it a mystery? Because we'll never know.
And you're not supposed to know.
Exactly.
And you're not supposed to find out. You're not supposed to go seeking that knowledge. If you go seeking that knowledge, you'll be taken and you'll be shown, you know, and you might not be ready to be taken. So you just have to live your life as a human because this world is a learning stage. You know, they're teaching you how to be a spirit.
Oh.
You know, and you have to listen, you have to learn, you have to be patient. And that's just what I'm gathering from my short time here in this world, you know, and what I've learned in my ceremony, what I've learned in my way of life from the older people. You know, you just gotta be the best you can be in this world, whatever that is, whatever that means.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's a freedom fighter, frontline fighter, whether that's a father, whether that's a mother, whether that's just you know, a community leader, a nurse, you know, a doctor, whatever it is, you're just doing the best you can be. You know.
You know, the reason I refer to the Aztec stone, at least for me, as the principal knowledge, is because it ties the Olmec, Toltec, Mayan, and the Aztec. Those philosophies,
Yeah, that's powerful.
wisdoms, all are on that stone. And the Toltec have a way of thinking of life. And the Toltec word, from what I've researched, is artist. So when you say you're Toltec, you're saying, I'm an artist.
That's cool.
That's it. You're not saying, I'm a this bloodline. No, that's like white man. I mean, the European, the ones that only cross the ocean, the only guys that cross the ocean, that's their thing. The truth is, if you look at any wise culture, whether it be from India, Asia, wherever, the wisest person will tell you that they don't know, and they will never know, and they're not supposed to know, just like what you just said.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be known. It's meant to be experienced.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just, that's just a very, a white way of thinking is trying to find out right now. You know, you want the answer.
Yeah.
Teacher, what's the answer to that? No, that's not how it is in indigenous culture. You have to learn, you have to live it.
Yeah.
You know, and the way the old people teach you, or the way they were taught, was through experience.
Yeah.
You know, throw you out on the hill for 4 days. You know, no food or water, and you're gonna find answers. You know, you're gonna find answers. So that's just the way of getting back to creation, coming back to it. You know.
Yeah. Getting back to creation.
Yeah.
Creation.
Oh man,
that's a banger, bro.
That song is so much fun, bro, to perform. I love it.
I love the energy it has.
And shout out to the showcase you had, the Obsidian showcase, man.
Oh.
Man, we had a great time.
We had an amazing time.
We had a showcase, but
No Coal on Stolen Land, right?
Yeah. No Coal.
Earth Day.
Earth Day. It was on about 4 weeks ago in April, and we did a 2-day event here in LA. One of the first events after the whole COVID thing, and it was a success, man. We had a bunch of performers come through. We, had the showcase of our merch. And
we were honored to be there. You know, we actually took a sneak peek at that documentary, man, and.
Yeah,
and I hope it's on Netflix. I hope it gets picked up, by all the majors, man, because it deserves that shine, right, Zero?
It was well done. It was well done, and I'm sure Nataanii's going to make it available for people in due time, and it just showcases a piece of him.
No. Shout out Cody Lucic, who's the director of that
Absolutely,
film.
Cody, what up?
And he's we have to pay for some of the songs that are in there still.
Yeah,
and then. Hopefully it'll go to one of the major platforms. I can't say which one, but there's one that's lining up to get it.
Oh, bro, it's gonna blow people's minds.
Yeah, it's super dope.
One of the best experiences I've ever had in Nataanii, to be honest with you, man. Like, your event was just definitely.
Appreciate that.
It was a warm welcome. Right, Zero?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough town, but when you use the knowledge that you have, right? Because it was very strategic when you're putting it at Indian Alley. You know what I mean? It's like right there.
Yeah.
It's like that's a good place and a bad place. You could transform it into whatever you want, and I think you transformed it into the beginning of something dope. And the gathering of the indigenous artists that you put together. The singer, I'm sorry, I forgot her name.
Tia Wood.
Tia.
Yeah, she's from Canada, from Saskatchewan, I think.
Oh, Saskatchewan.
Or Alberta, one of those two, yeah.
Man, Saskatchewan pumps out like a lot of artists, huh?
Yeah, Canada does in general, it's very talented.
But she had an amazing voice. And I think the vibe that you created with your clothing and the place you picked, is done well.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's the truth. I wouldn't say that if it wasn't. I like to try to be as honest as possible without being rude. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not trying to be rude, but I love the effort, and it was beautiful, man. Like, the vibe, the people there, everybody was friendly with each other. It was something that reminded me of the time when we started our movement back in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, for sure.
So you also got music like Land Back, right?
So a couple months ago, we were in dialogue with Indian Collective. If you guys don't know who Indian Collective is, shout out Indian Collective, NDN. They're based out of Rapid City, South Dakota. And they do a lot of really good work for organizations, for frontliners, for artists. And we were brought together to do a Land Back project because they have a sub organization called the landback.org that they are operating with, the Indian Collective. So we just made an album called Land Back. And it features, myself, Antone Edwards, and a lot of really dope artists.
Is
from
it a
South
compilation?
Dakota. Yeah, it's like a compilation almost.
Compilation.
It's about 20 tracks.
Right.
So it's fire. It's super fire. So
good.
We're hoping to get that out in July, and it just sounds dope. It's just dope. It's
you also
really
released a new single, right?
Yeah, Heaven and Hell.
That shit was dope.
Yeah, man.
That one was fire.
I was sitting on that for a while, but it featured.
That's cool though. See, that's the maturity of an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, you make a banger and you're like itching to like right off the dude just put it into an MP3 and you're already trying to upload it and shit.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
But that's cool that you have that discipline because it's worth it. That song is really good. I like that song.
Yeah, it's a really good
Heaven
song.
and Hell.
Features Keto, who's Dakota and Ojibwe from Minneapolis, and Destroy Casman, who's Navajo. He's from Phoenix. I'm from Ganado, but lives in Phoenix.
Dude, and you're putting the people from the res on, dude.
Yeah,
That's
man.
dope.
I mean, I want to showcase those younger Native artists that are, coming up too, and show love to them and their fan bases and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Plus, it's just fun. It's just fun collaborating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you keep working, you get better at it, and the message is just a little stronger,
Yeah, hell yeah.
Shout out to everyone in the chat. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to,
Now's the time, brother.
Add it.
Nataanii is here.
We got another 25 minutes left.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy that you're here, Nataanii, man, because it's like, I'm excited because it's like, you're an indigenous hip hop artist. There's not a lot of them, right, Zero?
Yeah.
And to meet someone with so much leadership, right? It's a dime a dozen, Zero.
And you could see the struggle.
Like you're not a follower. You're a full blown leader at what you do, bro.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I only want to rub elbows with leaders, right, Zero?
Yeah. But
because apparently I'm considered a leader in this underground scene, and it's like, well, now I'm at a point where I only could rub elbows with leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Nataanii, sometimes do you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I my name means leader.
There you go.
Not Aninez.
Serious?
Yeah, it means
there it is,
a
bro.
standout leader.
There you go.
But I don't know. I never wanted to be considered a leader, but I know I have influence, and I know I have a say in certain situations, and I do carry titles in my traditional circles. So I just try. I don't know. I just try to stay humble. Try to stay humble. I just try to keep it moving. Always meeting up with dope cats like with you guys. This is medicine right here.
Absolutely.
And
brother.
just us being here right now, it's probably it's probably something dangerous for the American government.
Well, of course. Of course. You got like-minded individuals who are organized and can execute a plan.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
Like this podcast is definitely a autonomous zone right here, right, Zero?
Well, I think that is the answer for indigenous individuals across Turtle Island, is to regain their autonomy, and not in a sense to be like, I own this, but I own my life, I own my art, I own how I relate to other people and who I relate to, and it's our job in this new digital economy to support the right people, because remember, they went from fiat currency now to digital numbers. Yeah. So that means they're going to be it's going to be infinite. They're going to give so much away, and that's the distraction. It's what you do with it. How are you going to build these foundations? Not only for, like, my dream, Nataanii, I've for a long time studied my culture, which is the Aztec, Maya, and Mexica culture, just because my grandparents came from Texas, but they can't tell me what tribe they came from. And they were so Christianized. If they were to see me now, they would be like, oh my God, he's a devil. They were that Christian.
Yeah.
Mentioning anything that was native was like devil thing, so.
Jeez.
But as I go into this road and I find out that I come from this place and these people, I said, something's missing. Like, I got the ceremony, I got the philosophy, it's just not clicking. Like, what is it that's missing? And then I went, well, I got to eat like them. And I thought, okay, well, beans, squash, corn. Then I went deeper, and it was minerals. See, ancient cultures survived off a mineral-based diet. That's That's science. It's not because they were these profound people, but they said, if we give our society high mineral diets, spirulina, maca, chia, cacao, these are very prominent foods in these cultures. If we give them high minerals, they'll eat once a day. That gives us an ability to grow less crops, but will free up their time to devote to the society's vision, which is star alignment, ceremony. Right now, we work to eat, right? That's what we do. We go and put all this effort to go eat at the best place or to go. But does that food give you something back? And that's where I think the balance of ancient cultures and native cultures came into play. There's a reason we call her Mother Earth, because in Mother Earth, the soil carries minerals. And Trudell said it himself. We are the minerals and liquids that are her. Mm-hmm. That's what our body is.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of great examples, bro. And I'm just happy you're here, bro. I'm just trying to like have a really intellectual conversation.
At the end of my dad's life, man, he went totally vegan. He went vegan. He went raw vegan. You know,
nice.
And he beat everything. He had gout. He had high blood pressure. He had high blood sugar. And what else?
See, they won't tell you that story. They won't tell you that Russell Means went vegan.
Yeah, he went super vegan, man. I was a teenager and it sucked eating with him. But no. But he was in it. He was adamant about it, you know.
Sweet.
He was adamant about me getting off of dairy and less meat, you know. And since his passing, I don't eat dairy.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So
good stuff. I'm gonna hook you up with our mineral powder, you know.
Oh hell yeah.
And we're gonna put you on right.
That's what's up. I'm down.
Because we're family. Yeah. And this is a community.
Yeah. Shout out to Nataanii Superfoods.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I created a formula using ancient foods: amaranth, spirulina, maca, chia, cacao. These I combine into one powder, and you take 1 tablespoon, 1 meal replacement, but it also regulates your whole
I'm going to do that, man.
No, I got you, dude. I got you. We're going to take care of everyone because being a leader shouldn't be stressful. When you're pointed and given a name of leader, you're just a speaker for your community.
Right.
You hold nothing more than a voice and an ability to articulate a message.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, he's fucking Einstein with Bill Gates and Steve Jobs all in one that fucking knows and he just
and
shits out answers.
And
no,
everyone,
that's not what a leader is.
Everyone uses the term, you know, influence or influencer very loose. Like,
yeah.
Like Nataanii means is a true influencer.
Yeah. Because the message is solid. The message has root. Yeah. It has Lakota root. You know, it has fucking very strong warrior lineage root. You know, and the development of that, bro, take your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not in a hurry to do anything really.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm just taking it day by day. I'm not out here to get rich or to like I just want to be able to leave a legacy like my father left me. You know, I want, you know, that's all I want for my nieces, my nephews, whatever.
And also expose them to the reality of the world. Like, look at you left the comfort zone, even though it wasn't very much of a comfort zone. People love their dysfunction.
Yeah,
I've known people that never left like the 8 blocks of East Los Angeles. They went from the 8 blocks of East Los Angeles into a jail, and their furthest travel was in a prison deep in the desert. That was their greatest vacation they have ever took.
Yeah.
So when you venture out of those type of situations and go, look, man, I've started businesses. I made my music career. I'm giving back to my community. I have a strong voice for my people, because your voice isn't just like any kind of voice, bro. You put yourself on the front line for these movements.
Yeah, man. And it takes a toll on you, man. Like, shout out to everyone that's frontlining, you know, because I had to take a break for a few years. It wears you down mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And me personally, I start thinking crazy out there. Like when it's just you, the land, against a $1 billion corporation. It's like you start to think crazy thoughts, and it's they're justified thoughts. But so shout out to the front line. Shout out to Oak Flat. I saw somebody commenting about Oak Flat. Those are all my homies. I've been out to Oak Flat a few times, and with Winslow Noisy and a lot of the Apaches out there and supporters out there. So shout out to Oak Flat. They're still fighting for their land. But yeah,
it's a tall, it's a tall responsibility to put yourself on that thing, on that front line, and then the outcome not work to your favor.
Oh man, that's the most heartbreaking. Yeah, like what happened with Standing Rock? That was very heartbreaking for a lot of people. Especially for me. And you gotta. I don't know. It took a lot of fucking years of healing. Still going through it. And, there's still fights that happen every single, since then. We've been a part of different campaigns. And we're about to go back up to Alberta and fight against the coal company that's on my best friend's land, the Blackfeet, the Blackfoot people. And so it doesn't stop. This fight never stops. There's things here in California that, the people are fighting for.
Yeah.
I seen that a couple of dams up in Northern Cali actually just got taken out. So the salmon are swimming free again up there, and that's results of fighting. That's a win right there.
Yeah.
And it's very rare that we do get wins.
Yeah.
But another win is I don't like to acknowledge the federal government, but Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota, she put in a request to do another fireworks show in the Black Hills, South Dakota, which is Lakota land. At Mount Rushmore again this year, and because our Secretary of Interior is Deb Haaland, she had to approve it and she didn't.
Wow.
So that's another small victory right
Absolutely.
there. And I don't really like to acknowledge wins from the federal government.
Yeah.
But that was pretty good of her to deny Kristi Noem the right to display fireworks.
Well, I mean, anytime you praise individuals who were slave owners, individuals who were obviously, self-interest groups that never ended. This is the faces of Rushmore, right? These are not heroes. They may be marketed and remember the Rockefellers and the Carnegies established universities that were coached by Oxford in England. So the outcome's always going to come out to these individuals being these great people, but really they aren't. And, governments are just there to kind of be the police of the people who really have money. That's the way I see it. So victories, man, it's the energy. It's you going, we should care about this. And that's what really takes the victories, because then their grandchildren have to live with that. And their grandchildren aren't really down with that, They're not down with, because they have to realize, well, if I am down with it, then I have to be down with slavery, the breaking of treaties, the stealing of land, the mistreatment of water. How long can you sustain that? So when you do your work as a frontliner or as a music artist or whatever, it's a continuous, picture put in the face of individuals who will have to take the positions of their fathers and their grandfathers.
Yeah.
That's what the elders, the message that your father had, that all those great activists that came from that time of AIM.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Keep doing the work, because eventually their grandchildren are going to go, whoa, I'm not down with that shit no more.
That's really what it is. We're just waiting for all these old white people to die. Then a new time will come, hopefully, or something, man.
Well, that was their vision. We didn't understand it.
Yeah.
We wanted immediate
and that's
resolution.
Facts right there, right, Zero?
Dude,
let's be real.
Who wants to be down with that, though? Who wants to be down with pedophilia? Who wants to be down with raping of women and this patriarchal understanding forever and ever? Women never, ever are going to have a good idea. They're never, ever going to be good organizers. That's the lie.
There's people running these corporations, these billion-dollar corporations, people that are in office, holding offices that are 90 years old, 80 years old. Who the fuck? They make teachers retire in their 60s, and what the fuck? These motherfuckers is.
That's what I've always noticed about the Western or the Wasichu or the Europeans version of it is that they always leave it to their next generation to deal with.
Yeah.
When like you said, it's backwards. Where our lineage would be like, no, I got to teach him this so it could be better for our next. It's opposite. It's almost like, yeah, I caused a bunch of shit that you're going to deal with, but here you go, son. You know, you can deal with it.
Backwards. Everything's backwards, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
From our original way of thinking.
Right.
So it's just, you know.
It's a challenge. And that's, I think, what the challenge. I was watching this documentary called Toe Tag Paroles, right? And it was about parolees that were in a California institution for life without parole. And they were explaining how worse it was than actually being killed. He's all, because I have to, and they were in this program where they get to paint and have a little bit less stress in the yard. And they go, but, you know, I'm right here in the yard trying to better myself. But everyone around me, if I go outside in the prison, they all feel the opposite of me and actually hate the fact that I'm trying to better myself and keep myself in a state of mind. These are the challenges we face. It was so reflective to the society outside. Yeah. That prison, although it was very much more restricted because they told what to eat, when to go to bed, when all that stuff. Can they even paint? They had to ask permission to paint. But what I'm trying to point out is it's an uphill battle, but we keep putting that picture up and going, look, Indian schools, you have to fucking be balls out, fucking ignoring all the realities of human rights to go, I'm down with Indian schools. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or the support or getting the money from that stream, that revenue source. Because it all comes down to economy, right? It's a long history, but our job is not to find the answer. Our job is to participate and experience in the journey. And it's fun to be a warrior. I know you have a good time.
we have, you know, the good thing about Native culture is we got humor. So it's always dope. Yeah. When we're together, we're always laughing. Yeah. You know, we could be in the most fucked up situation, you know, but there's something funny there. Yeah. Or we could be in the most beautiful situation, you know. You can find beauty in the most ugly places. You know, one time we were out, and they're still fighting for Line 3 against Line 3 in northern Minnesota. But we were staying near Park Rapids, this piece of land out there that they still have, and you know we were living without food or without running water and electricity. So we were in a little yurt wood stove, and it was about maybe 2 or 3 in the morning, but you started to hear yipping, like dogs yipping. And we woke up, and there was about 4 of us in the yurt. We woke up and we looked around, and then you could hear one walking by the yurt right next to it, very light, and he let us know that he was walking. There were wolves.
Wow.
He like tapped the snow underneath, and you could hear him. Then they're so light on their feet.
Wow.
You know, and then they started talking. You could hear them talking way over here and one right here. And they were just checking out the yurt, you know.
Yeah.
And just to be that close to wolves in that moment was beautiful. You know, we all looked at each other. We're like, damn, that's a family right there. They're out. They're checking it out right now. You know. So I don't know. It's moments like that I really love and enjoy when we're doing that. When we're out frontlining or.
It's kind of like the spirits are letting you know that they're with you, right? They're like,
yeah. And it made me think deep because I was like, you know, back in the day, there are stories, you know, of us fighting with wolves or whatever, you know, and you know, nowadays it's like, oh, the Wolf Nation, you know, I don't know. My way of thinking is, you know, back in the day we must have been competing with each other because we both had family structures, you know, and we both had to find food.
Makes sense.
You know, so when we met each other out in the wild, you know, it was always like you know, who's gonna get who. You know, and then there was a shift in energy, and nowadays it's like, well, now we're fighting for our same home.
Right.
You know, and that moment right there made me believe, like, man, they're with us, you know.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And then of course they've always been with us, but you know, I don't know.
It's a cool way to look at it because, you know, like I've always explained on this show that I don't feel like indigenous culture ever put out a utopic story where we all exist, that no wolves exist, that no predators exist.
Yeah.
There was always, like you said, like I'm sure there were stories about our competition and our understanding. And what I've learned from predatory animals is they only kill what they need, right? So they'll never go, oh, I'm gonna kill all these things and just leave things to waste, right? Yeah. They're very, you can learn from them is what I'm saying. And there's gonna come a time where our union and our communication and just like you did, keep going, Nataanii. Like that's what I see. If you ask somebody if we're sitting around a campfire, you're telling me, hey, this story, and I'll be like, man, they're telling you that they're with you. Yeah. Like, how many times is that going to happen in your life?
No, and that's clearly evident. There was one night my friend Yaz, you guys met Yaz.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
He was out scouting a pipeline that was currently spilling, and we had to get footage of it, you know. Whoa. And it was being built, so the line was spewing out oil anyway. So he was out there at night, and he was just waiting for the workers to like go on break or something.
Yeah.
He was out in the trees, and he said it was pitch black. And if you've been in the Minnesota forest, midnight, it's black. Like you can't see nothing.
Wow.
And he was moving, he was walking, and he followed these wolf sounds. These wolves, they were talking, they were yipping, they were moving with him in the trees. And they were just like letting him know which direction to go. And then he found the place where he needed to be.
Wow.
And he just sat there, you know, he settled there for a couple hours. But he was like, without those wolves, he's like, I would have been lost. I would have been lost until sunlight.
What a brave dude to be walking in the middle of a forest pitch black.
So it's, you know, it's things like that, man, that really just are powerful moments, you know, and make me reassure me that we are fighting the right fight, you know, that we're not frontlining for no reason. Even though when you're out there facing resource extraction companies, you feel so alone. Like you feel like the whole world is just not listening to you, not seeing what you're doing. So if you're listening right now, go check out, you know, Stop Line 3 or No Line 3. A lot of information on that. They're currently doing a lot of really dope stuff that are stopping Enbridge Corporation. So check them out.
Absolutely. Keep the information coming, Nataanii, because, I mean, you're lucky enough to be invited to these and to bring light to these dark zones or places that they're trying to keep quiet. And it's, what an amazing story, that wolf story, you know, like guiding you to your place or being connected enough to pay attention to that because not everybody does. You know what I mean? Like you guys, like, it's almost like the ancestors or the animal spirits are going like, we need to help these guys.
Yeah.
That's
like,
we're
all in it together at the end of the day.
That's dope. Really cool.
Really special, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Shout out to everyone in the chat. There's a lot to absorb here, you know. For anyone that's not catching this live, man, you guys definitely have a dose coming on that Spotify link.
Absolutely, man. Nataanii is no joke. He's real. He has a lot of information, a lot of experience, and go follow him on his social media platforms.
Right.
Look up his music. Where your platforms are? YouTube, Spotify,
everything.
He's well organized.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from telling our audience follow you on Instagram, follow you on IG. I hate Instagram. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like the society that we live in is just so pigeonholed in that app right now. I'm just waiting for something else to come out.
I think I
love Twitter.
It comes down to content, you know, and
anyone following us on Twitter, thank you. If you're not, just type in LA Natives Podcast. Please follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were doing a good job, you know, trying to gather the tribe.
Yes.
And try to erase colonial perspective. And that's really our mission here is to break colonial perspective. That's the whole theme of our show on June 25th, and this podcast is to really challenge colonial perspective, because I'm tired. A lot of times, you know, growing up in this kind of a movement, everyone always references books, and then I got to a point where it's like, how can we even reference a book when we're an oral culture?
Yeah.
We were taught through oral traditions.
Yeah.
We were taught, these were gifts. They weren't like mandatory readings and regurgitating of information. This is deep connection to be able to listen to wolves in the forest. This is not, you're not gonna fucking find the technique in a book. You're gonna find that in the heart.
Yeah.
And your whole being. And you have to be open to that. And as I see Nataanii develop, I can see that in his music and how it's going to really, really affect. Because, I mean, I see how many years you do it? 10 years? About 10 years doing music?
Yeah, recording music for sure.
About 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So, but like when you get to 15, 17, 19, you're going to be well organized, very precise. I mean, it's kind of like my release with Global Pandemic. It's not once do I mention coronavirus, not once do I mention mask. It's just the origin of what this pandemic is.
Yeah.
What is this? It's always been white supremacy. It's always been that. Now it's intellectual narcissism, and now they're throwing poor whites into our category. So there's a lot of things that are topics, and we have an infinite fucking pool of content, you know. What's the next move for you today? I mean, the next move for you.
Every summer I'm usually up north doing the ceremonies, but next move, well, get that land back.
Are you doing Skin Fest this year?
No.
You did it once, right?
No, I don't think I've ever done Skin Fest.
What was the name of that? Oh man, what was it? It was about 2 years ago. It was a big festival. I thought it was Skin Fest. I saw your name. They headlined your name.
I don't even
during
know.
the Obsidian campaign. It was about 2 years ago before COVID. But anyways, any big shows coming up?
No, well, I was gonna do the show with you guys, but I thought you guys said May 25th.
No,
and it was June.
Yeah.
But I had before that I had got asked by Tiny House Warriors to do a show in Seattle for a fundraiser for their frontline camp.
Fuck yeah, that's cool.
Kanahus Manuel.
Oh yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, she's
a
dope.
strong
She's dope.
woman.
And I've been up there to that fight, you know. So they're doing like a little fundraiser a big fundraiser for their fight. So
perfect.
I'll be up there on the 25th of June, performing, and then nothing. I mean, the world's barely opening back up, so hopefully, get some more.
Oh, I thought maybe you had
gigs.
something lined up because of that. You know, everything's starting to open up and shit.
I'm going to Hawaii in October. They booked me out there.
Sweet.
For this for a show and a keynote speaking gig.
Wow.
And
congratulations.
And on that note, LA Natives definitely we're planning on rolling out semi-monthly events.
Yeah, bro.
Zero.
You're gonna
you definitely have a home here.
Nataanii has a couch.
As soon as possible, Nataanii's gonna touch our mics, our stages, bro. I definitely want to see you rock.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's such a beautiful dude, and he has a lot of wisdom. And
we will be announcing the full lineup this Wednesday. We're gonna be putting up the Eventbrite link tonight. Matter of fact, for everyone that's been asking us, where to purchase tickets at. It's going to be a dope show. June 25th. We got Zero headlining. We got Olmeca coming through. We got a whole bunch of other cats. Jag.
Yeah, Olmeca.
We have Frosty. We have Poca One, DJ Warlock, DJ Survive. We have Artson coming through. We have Jag.
Yeah.
Right? Azomali. Nug Life. He's going to be doing a super dope beat set.
Absolutely.
One of the dopest indigenous hip hop producers out right now.
Absolutely.
Billboards are everywhere in LA. Like, I can't avoid them, bro. Like, they just stare at you.
He's just a really smart dude, man. He knows how to promote his music, and that's the name of the game, is knowing how to do
If there's any vendors out there that want to contribute, just send us the email or DM us. Any artists that want to get more involved, we do have a second stage. Feel free to hit us up if you want to rock. It's going to be a great event. Free limited RSVP going to be available. It's going to be $5 in advance. Definitely a humble environment. I believe it's going to be on a Friday night, 8 p.m. The Catch One, dope venue. Subscribe to our website.
There'll be more. There'll be more, Nataanii.
Oh yeah,
He's talking it up right now. I'm like, shit.
Nah, man, and this is going to be for all of our LA podcast listeners. This is going to be the time, right, to unite in Los Angeles. The Catch One has a lot of historical value, right, Zero?
Yeah, and then you got the Regent too, and we have plans for that too. So, dude, you have a house here, bro.
Man, appreciate you.
You have a couch here,
and we got Sub One
whenever you're available.
We have Sub One performing, right, Zero?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna have the indigenous 1492 merchandise table there as well. The homies, Richie's gonna support.
It's a movement and a scene. So, what me and Armando are trying to do, Nataanii, is like create like a low end theory. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that movement, but it was like one done by like Flying Lotus, and it was like a done at a dive bar and at like a club on Broadway, and it wasn't even a premier venue. It was just kind of like a dive bar, right? But this scene created like this hip hop, like trip hop instrumental scene came from it. I said, wow, that's cool. That's like almost like an intellectual scene. I bet you we could do that, just referencing what happened to us, but not referencing the pain or the dysfunction or the displacement, but focusing on the medicine. Because there's things that Trudell has said in speeches that are just profound. They have nothing to do with the political anything. It's just profound. Your dad is the same way. And featuring these brothers and sisters and pieces of documentary that just make sense and created this vibe from it, this portal. That's why June 25th was important to us, because it's the Battle of Bighorn.
Yeah, it's the victory days.
Exactly. So we're going to open up that portal that day. Anybody who's interested in being a part of that event, we're going to put the link, the ticket link up. Don't worry, Nataanii, you're going to be around, bro.
We're going to send all of our website subscribers the ticket link. We're going to update our URL on Instagram. And keep in mind, guys, we're going to have 25 free limited RSVP tickets available. So if you do cop a RSVP, make sure you come out. Because if you don't, you're only taking away from another fan to come out for that event. So if you do cop a RSVP, make sure you come out. Because you're going to have to put your name and your email. So we are going to know who you are.
Yeah. You didn't show up.
Yeah, victory days, man. It gets popping back home too, man.
Yeah.
All the Sundances are happening. Everyone brings out their guns.
There you go. We have to commemorate our victories, because they're not going to write about a lot of them. And whatever ones we know about, we're going to try to put cardinal points on. It's a different kind of scene that me and Armando are kind of putting together. And hopefully, I know in the near future, you'll be featured in one of our shows or festivals.
Sure, for sure.
We definitely have a lot of plans, bringing out a lot of big names.
Yeah.
There's a huge name we're planning on bringing out, but we're not going to announce it yet. But he was promoted on Underground Hip Hop Blog not too long ago.
Right.
So that's one clue.
Yeah.
Right there.
Dope.
Great episode. Thank you, Nataanii, for swinging by, man. It's such an honor, just to be in your zone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In your circle.
Yeah.
One thing led to another. You invited us to your joint. It was amazing, right, Zero?
Yeah.
And it was one of my most memorable experiences in LA.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's a lot, man. Wow.
That documentary was deep.
Yeah.
It was dope.
And I can't wait for all of our podcast listeners to watch that documentary.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Nataanii will lock down the business side of things. And
For sure. It'll be out.
Yeah. It was a powerful thing. I liked the fact that it reached on topics. I'm not going to explain them or anything like that, but it reached on topics that are important and that we need to create these gaps, because it's not only in the res or in the barrios. We need to create a generational gap, and I'll leave the documentary to for you guys to go find that by Nataanii Means. But there was some very important things that I seen in that documentary that, man, if we can get healing on that part of it, we're on our journey. We're ahead of the game on our 100-year journey, because if we could come into consensus with the previous generation, I'm talking about the previous generation that came from me, because they're the ones that still have that abuse tied into them.
Yeah.
But once we get to that place and you get to see this documentary by this amazing gentleman and his crew, I just want to say thank you for coming and showing love to LA natives, treating us with respect and equality, which is, just a testament to your people. And
yeah, man, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for having me here. It's been dope. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat, been asking questions. Sorry I couldn't answer all the questions.
All right. You want to answer a couple of them if you want? I mean, if they're there.
Let me see. I'll pull up one more.
Okay.
Let's get as interactive as we can. I mean, especially if they're...
We have one right here. So from Elaine Reyes. Hello, relatives. What can we do to unite the Aboriginal community around the world to fight for one cause? What do you think, Nataanii?
Man. To fight for one cause, there's too many causes. There's so many. And as a person in the movement, you get overwhelmed with how much there is to fight for, because you do two things over here, then people are like, well, what about this? You know, so it's like, it's almost like you can't leave out things when you represent movement work. But people need to understand that there's always multiple fights happening, but it's just up to you to what you can support to your capacity,
right?
You know, and don't overwhelm yourself, first of all, because movement work gets very heavy and it can tear you apart. It'll tear you apart, especially with all the new information coming in, the new way of thinking, the overload of work. You'll crumble, you know. And I've seen it happen to a lot of people that became new to movement work. So you have to like really take care of yourself. Use your medicines, learn when to take breaks. But as far as just one cause, there's too many causes, man. You know, there's so many fights happening, and you know, there's enough people for every fight. You know what I'm saying? But if I had to say, just the fight for the water is very important. For water availability and water rights, that's a good one to focus on, I think, if you're new to movement work.
Absolutely.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Right, Zero?
Absolutely. I mean, water is essential. It's something that they're after in the new version of life that they're trying to implement. My 2 cents on the movement thing is, once you, and I'm only using myself as a reference, but once you get to a point where you're decolonizing the perspective that was given to you, trusting and reaching into the blackness of your past, because there's someone there to receive your hand, right? You just can't see them. It's there. Just can't be seen. That's what they call the Tlokanawake in our understanding, is the separate but together, right? The separate but together. It'll always be there. But when you focus on yourself, your meditation, your physical health, your understanding of the earth and the world that you live in, that permeates around you, man.
That's true.
And that's how Nataanii's effective. He focuses on what he knows, and it starts to become, he starts to get asked to go and be a part of these movements. But let's not put let's emphasize focus on oneself, because oneself is a beautiful gift. It's complex. You're a complex being. You're so unexplainable. Right. That when you focus on yourself and you focus on your prayer and you use the medicines to guide you to this destination, then you are the one you have been waiting for. So use that as well.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. You can't help no one else if you never helped yourself.
Absolutely.
And until that happens, you'll be detrimental, or you'll be more of a liability in the movement.
Yeah.
Kind of. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta be sharp as nails, man. You gotta be sharp as nails, and knowing how to if we're too effective, because you look back at the warriors that came from the past, when they went on hunting journeys, or you think they had water and food available right there? They had a nice diner to stop at while they were hunting the deer. Sometimes they had to not eat. Yeah. Sometimes they had to exhaust themselves and then get injured while chasing this live animal, right? To bring back to your community for ceremonial reasons. You have to be sharp as nails. I think everybody that runs with Nataanii, what we're trying to build with LA natives is that movement of individuals who focus on themselves to help their communities outside of themselves.
Yeah, that makes it. Yep, you said it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. This Wednesday, we're announcing the flyer, the full lineup.
June 25th.
June 25th. We're going to update all of our socials, our website. We're going through Eventbrite. Just type in LA Natives Podcast or type in Zero of El Vuh. You'll find the link. Thank you for the support. Thank you, Nataanii.
Good luck on your shows, brother. Good luck on your music, and I'm sure we'll see you again.
All right. See you, everybody.
Peace.